Yeah, cricket time now on the SportsMax Zone. It did not earn him the Man of the Match award, but Jasprit Bumrah's compelling spell that set up India's fourth Test victory over England at the Oval on Monday, along with a brilliant overall final day bowling effort from the Indians, being described by Virat Kohli as being among the top three bowling performances he has witnessed as the India captain. England had started the final day at the Oval with 77 runs on the board and no wickets lost. The hosts needed a further 291 runs in 90 overs to complete a record run chase of 368. Now, with England at 120 for 1 heading to lunch, the match seemed to be in the balance, but English batsmen were eventually overwhelmed by a ferocious Indian bowling performance. Bumrah's vital spell of 2 for 6 in 6 overs triggered the English collapse after lunch that saw them being bowled out for 210 in 92.2 overs. For his second innings, 127, Rohit Sharma was man of the match. The fifth and final match in the series begins on Friday. Joining us now is international commentator Fazeer Mohammed to review the action from the fourth Test. How impressive was India's bowling performance on the final day, Faz? Great to have you back.
Good to be back, Lance. Yeah, very impressive indeed. And I think once more, Lance, it reinforces the strength and depth in Indian cricket. I mean, it's taken them many decades to do what they should have been doing a long time ago. If you think about the size of India as a nation, over 1 billion people, the vast majority of whom, sporting-wise, are absolutely crazy about the game, and that they've been middling around for decades at the lower reaches of international cricket, struggling to make any impact except on their home conditions. And now, with a different vibe, a different attitude, different focus on their game, different level of competitiveness, they've widened the net because you see players who aren't in that posh university type background, coming from Mumbai or Chennai or Hyderabad and so on. They are coming from the outer reaches, from the rural areas, from poor backgrounds, and they are really bringing forward a lot of hungry young talent to the extent that they could be without Mohammad Shami, they could be without Ishant Sharma, they could be without the top spinner in world cricket, and indeed Ravi Ashwin hasn't had a look in for virtually this entire series, and yet still India are 2-1 up, and but for rain on the last day of the first Test, they probably would have clinched the series already, and that is in essence the strength in depth in Indian cricket right now.
Yeah, and you talk about players that are just emerging. Shadul Thakur got 2 half centuries. He's primarily a bowler, but his half century at faster than runner ball rate in the first innings and then a more measured second innings performance was also fabulous. Kohli singled him out as well. I know it was an overall team effort, but he was special as well, wasn't he?
Indeed, and you could argue that he was a prime candidate for Man of the Match award,
yes,
because that half in the first innings at least gave them some respectability when they were in deep trouble. Then that half century in the second innings came at a time when Rohit Sharma had been dismissed and they were concerned, well, okay, maybe India might only get a lead of maybe 150, 175. And the way it turned out with that excellent partnership that he had, it really pushed India way in front at that stage. And then to get the vital wicket of Joe Root on the last day. So again, it is the measure of a quality team that you'll have these outstanding individual contributions, that you'd have players who would really make the sort of impact that would really stand out. Yes, there's a lot of talk about Jasprit Bumrah and his role with those 2 wickets for next to nothing. But overall, you have to say that almost everyone in that Indian team was making a contribution at some time or the other.
Definitely. And Faz, I feel like we should spend some time speaking about Jasprit Bumrah. Of course, that, devastating reverse swing, the way he was able to become the quickest Indian fast bowler to complete 100 Test wickets in 24 matches. Just the quality that he adds to this Indian setup.
He is an outstanding performer. He is a freak because, again, everything he does from the start of his run-up, which isn't much of a run-up anyway. I know some spinners who have longer run-ups than he would have. So it's all about strength. It's that very awkward style with that stiff arm. You almost get the sense that whoever coached him, however he was coached, that whatever worked for him, it worked beautifully. And as we're seeing with those 2 wickets, 90-mile-per-hour deliveries, York length deliveries, late swing, that's the definition of unplayable. And you really can't blame Johnny Bairstow or Ollie Pope for the manner in which they got out, because simply Jasprit Bumrah, and I think what you also recognize, which is why I made the point to Lance earlier, these are young men who are hungry for success, who are hungry to be part of an Indian setup. Success breeds success. Everybody wants to be part of it. India are not just dominant economically, they have their way in the game. We know all about what goes on at the ICC level, with the BCCI really pushing everybody else around, but you can't argue with the performances on the field. And that's why I made the point about players from poor backgrounds, players who would not normally have had an opportunity. They've gotten opportunities via the IPL, via Ranji Trophy with their state. You know the story of Jasprit Bumrah. He was brought up from basically from a single parent home. And really, it was a family with nothing. Yet they saw cricket as a fantastic opportunity. And you see that hunger and that humility, that combination in Jasprit Bumrah, which makes him such a likable person, but he's lethal. I think the West Indies are still trying to get over how he demolished them in Antigua in that test match in 2019. We got a hat-trick as well in that test match because, again, when he's on song, when everything is clicking, he's virtually unplayable.
Definitely, and you speak about him in such a manner, and of course his performance with the help of Jadeja and company justifies the captain and of course the coach's decision to leave out Ravi Ashwin, again pointing to the depth of this team. Ravi Ashwin is, when you think about it, arguably one of the best spinners for India. You leave him out and you still dominate in such manner.
I suppose it could still be argued that Ravi Ashwin merits a place in that Indian team because remember, he was one of their heroes in that triumph in Australia earlier this year, which we had in our discussion about the greatest test series of all time, because it was he together with Hanuma Vihari played tremendous rearguard innings to ensure a draw in that fourth test match to keep it at 1-1 going to Brisbane where India prevailed for that historic triumph. But once more, you have a situation where there will always be second guessing. There was even coming into this, has Virat Kohli's histrionics gotten the better of him? Is he a bad image for Indian cricket? Is he preoccupied with all of the gesticulating towards the opponent and so on? We live in an era where, again, because of social media, because of internet, if you want ESPN Cricket Info, for example, almost every session, if somebody does something, is this the greatest knock ever played? Is that the most famous six ever hit? Is that the best ball ever bowled? Everything that happens now is the greatest ever. So therefore, you step back and recognize that Virat Kohli has brought the level of success to Indian cricket at test level that no one else has done before. There was talk about Ajinkya Rahane. Is he coming to the end of his tether? Yeah. Ajinkya Rahane was the captain who took over from Virat Kohli when India routed for just 36. He scored a magnificent 100 in the next test match. Yeah. They won the test. They fought back magnificently. So yes, we can always have these moments when we're preoccupied with these brilliant performances. But I think at the end of it all, we step back and look at the wider context and realize that India are going to be a dominant force for a long time.
In 15 seconds though, Faz, England did win the third test ban innings handsomely and were gathering thoughts then of probably winning the series. But here comes BCCI President Sourav Ganguly saying that India is by far better than the rest. Do you agree with him?
Well, you know that's Sourav Ganguly. Sourav Ganguly's provocation. He does what Indians have done to the English all these years. So he is vocal in the hopes of playing the mind games. And I suspect he will have some success with that.
Okay, thanks, Faz. We'll talk again soon.
Bye for now.
Yeah, back with more on The Zone after this.